Hey, James G here. On today's episode of PreSonus Studio One series, we are going to talk about creating an audio track. So this is one of the very first things you'll learn because this is how you're going to get your tracks recorded on your software. So as you can see, I'm sitting here in an empty song screen, and I do have my mixer pulled up, which you can hit this button right here on the bottom right. You can always do F3 also. And I'm going to go to this little plus sign up here, and this is going to allow me to add tracks. Now, I can add an audio track, which is going to be like microphone or an instrument of anything that's giving an actual analog signal. The instrument track is virtual instruments or MIDI. So yes, you're playing a guitar, but it's actually an audio type track as opposed to an instrument. It's just kind of DAW terminology. And then there's an automation track, which we'll discuss later. And then there's the folder track, which you can add to create folders and put different, just basically to keep everything nice and tidy. And there's a video on the folders as well. If you're interested in that, you can look that one up. And so here we are. We're going to add an audio track. We can name it whatever we want. I'm going to name it James because I'm just going to talk into this mic here. The color here, you can just choose whatever color you want that track to be. If you click on auto color, it'll just change the color every time you add a track. Whatever you want it to be. And then the format's going to be mono or stereo. Then you can actually put in an effects chain before this, which if you get used to some effects chains that you know work, that's great. But otherwise, I would say just say no preset and then add and deal with everything later. And then here's where you would drop down with your input. Now this was from when you set up your I/O, your input outputs. So I'm going in input 1. That's where I have this little mic in front of me plugged into there. And of course the output is going to go to main. I'm going to hit OK, and there it goes. So it created, of course, the track here. Now this is where the WAV file is going to go. And then it also added the track down here in my console or my mixer. So now my audio track is in place. Now over here, once again, I can hit in this box right here. It will change your color. Here is to mute, and then this is solo, and then the next button is your record button. So I push the record button. I'm not recording. The track is armed and ready to record. And now you can actually hear it going through the microphone there as well. If you see this one next to it, this blue one also came up. What that is the monitor. If I was to choose that off and take that off, then you wouldn't hear it coming back through your monitor. So it defaults to being on because most of the time you want to hear what you're doing, but you do have the option of doing that. And there's several different reasons why that might happen, but it is more of an advanced thing. So just kind of keep that on. You'll always hear what you're recording. This here is a volume slide, and if you notice, if I click and drag that, my fader down below will move. Those are linked to each other. And then here's if I needed to change the input for whatever reason, I can actually go right to my I/O setup from there as well if something is wrong. This just switches from mono to stereo. And that is everything that's here. And now I am ready to record because the track is armed. Now to actually record this track, I'm going to go down to the bottom. This is referred to as our transport. This is where your macro stuff, everything just for the software in its entirety is dealt with, as opposed to everything here is for just that channel. So if I want to record something now, I go to my record button down here. I'm recording, whoop-de-doo, I'm recording. And then you'll see the WAV file pulling up here. And so that is how you would add a vocal track, or if it's a microphone or any instrument that's actually giving an analog sound, that is the type of track that you want to set up for it.